Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Michelle Moten with Urban Solace Yoga and Wellness, and we are so thrilled to bring you a month of fun and fitness right to your home, thanks to our partnership with our friends at the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy. Today's Silver Serenity program is an introduction to chair fitness for the young at heart, which will feature body weight and flexibility exercises for both the upper and lower extremities. Now, no special equipment is needed, just you and your chair. But be sure to select a stable seat, one with 4 legs that can support basic active movement. In addition, your chair should not have free-moving wheels to prevent unwanted rocking or rolling during the session. Exercise in all forms is essential for our well-being, and according to the American Heart Association, healthy older adults can benefit from participating in 30 minutes of moderate physical activity as tolerated, at least 2 to 4 days per week. Now, I know many of us may not have the time or interest, but it's so important for our quality of life as we age. So we will cover seated exercises that are considered functional movements, which means they mimic activities of daily living. And these activities can also help improve circulation in the upper and lower extremities, general coordination, and increase the range of motion of joints and the muscles supporting them. I will offer many modifications throughout the session, making this suitable for all ages and fitness levels, not just for my 65 and older friends. But with any physical activity, we encourage you to please listen to your body, especially if there are any previous injuries or surgeries, as well as underlying health conditions or range of motion concerns. And of course, remember, always consult with your healthcare provider to ensure that your chosen physical activity is indeed safe and appropriate for you. At this point, we simply ask that you grab a seat, do what you can, and have fun while you're here. So we're going to begin today, actually, seated. If you have a chair that has a seat back, I'm going to encourage you to use your core and not rely on leaning back as a crutch, unless, of course, you're taking care of lower lumbar challenges. And also, make sure that your feet can be placed firmly flat on the floor in front of you. And we're always going to start our sessions with a warm-up, because you never want to exercise or even stretch cold muscles. So we want to work our bodies at a lower intensity, preparing us for our higher intensity activities. So we're going to start with some gentle checking in exercises. So take a moment and notice if there's any tension in the face, in the shoulders. Begin to slowly lower the chin toward the chest as a nice opportunity to assess if you're harboring any stress in that space between the shoulder blades. And then gently begin to rotate your head, just sweeping the chin from shoulder to shoulder. Good. And slowly bring the head back to center. And from here, we're going to lower the right ear toward the right shoulder. And when I'm facing you, I will always mirror you. So nice and easy. Noticing if there is any tension on the opposite side. And sometimes if those muscles are tight, you may even notice that the shoulder will lift in response. But try to keep them relatively even. Good. And slowly bring the head back to center. And we're just going to switch sides. Again, nice and easy. And maybe noticing anything different on this side compared to the first. Good. Head back to neutral. And now let's just take a moment and notice the rotation of the head. So slowly rotate your head toward the right. Good. And gently bring the head back to neutral. And you control the range of motion, whichever position feels comfortable for you. Never force your way into any position. And slowly bring the head back to center. Now let's bring our focus to the shoulders. And then with your hands on your thighs, just gently roll the shoulders toward the back. Nice. And then roll them forward. Good. And set the shoulders down and back, feeling your sit bones firmly rooted, kind of evenly distributing your weight onto your chair. I want you to become aware of the posture. And we'll be talking a lot about engaging the core. And those are the muscles that stabilize the spine. And in this case, they are going to include the abs and also the muscles in the back. Since we're not standing, we won't be focusing on the glutes and the hip flexors just yet. So I want you to sit nice and tall and let the shoulders lower down and back, and noticing that engagement. And it shouldn't be so tight that it stifles the movement of your chest or abdomen as you breathe. So now that we have our posture, go ahead and release your hands by rotating your wrists and wiggle your fingers. Even give your hands a nice squeeze. Kind of pumping out any tension or edema that might be pooling in the extremities. Warmer weather can also cause fluid to build up in the extremities, but also take note of the amount of sodium that you consume that may cause swelling in the hands and feet. And then give me a nice squeeze, rotate your forearms so that your palms are facing up, and then gently flex and extend the wrists. And you're going to notice a little release in the forearms. Good. And then gently release the hands to your lap. Now let's awaken our feet. And we're going to first start with just some heel lifts. And we're going to do one at a time. So start with your left heel, just so that the ball of the foot or even the toes are still making contact with the floor. And you should feel the calf engaging here. Good, and go ahead and release. And we'll lift the opposite side. Again, taking your time, noticing the calf engaging, but also some lengthening in the muscles that support the front of the shin. Nice. Now gently release, and we're just going to alternate. So taking your time, and we're not racing, but as one heel makes contact with the floor, begin to switch. And you'll even notice the activation in the ankles, the muscles that support the feet, even the fascia that runs along the bottom of your feet. Good. And go ahead and allow both heels to come to rest. Now we're going to create an opposite action by lifting the toes. And once again, we'll start on the left side. So very gently, you can even step the foot slightly forward and just pull the toes away from the floor. So just the heel is making contact. And once again, you'll feel some activation in the calf and the front of the shin. Nice. Go ahead and release, and we're going to do the opposite side. And just take your time, pulling your toes as high as comfortably possible. Good, and gently release. Step the feet slightly forward because we're going to attempt to do the same thing, alternating from side to side. So just take your time and kind of imagine you're tapping your toes. Nice. And this is a good exercise to do if you are on a long road trip or even flying in a plane, and sitting for long periods of time, just to keep, again, the circulation from the lower extremities to prevent blood pooling in that area and to pump out any excess edema. Good. And let's slowly walk the feet back so that you're in good alignment with the knees stacked comfortably over the ankles. And notice we're still maintaining good posture, which means those core muscles have been active the entire time. So give another check to make sure that the pressure is even in the sit bones. And we're now going to ramp up the warm-up, making it a bit more active. So with the hands on the front of the thighs, on an inhale, just roll the shoulders down and back, and we're going to lift the chin. You're creating a nice little sway in your back, the lower lumbar region. Again, if you're taking care of any spinal challenges, disc trauma, I want you to listen to your body, and you can certainly omit this if it's not comfortable. But for all of my yoga friends, it's going to be very similar to our cat and cow flow. So on an exhale, we're just going to bending the spine toward the seat back behind you. And again, if it's comfortable for the neck and shoulders, you can even allow the chin to tuck in a bit more. And yes, we are setting good posture aside for a moment, just for the sake of the stretch. And now let's make it dynamic once again. Inhale, gently unroll, let the shoulders drop down and back. Exhale, gently curling in. So you're in control here. Again, this is a dynamic warm-up, much more active than where we started. So as you notice your muscles beginning to heat up a bit more, you can certainly ponder increasing that range of motion, exploring the potential here. And let's do 2 more. And as you complete that final round, we're just going to slowly sit up nice and tall. Good. And we're going to begin to focus now on the lower extremities. Traditionally, when we exercise, we like to start with larger muscle groups and we work our way to smaller ones. So we were able to stabilize the core. We got some good flexion and extension in the spine. Now we're going to focus on the legs. So from here, we're just going to activate the left leg by lifting the foot away from the floor. We're actually activating another muscle group in the true core, which is called the hip flexor. So the hip flexor here is that muscle that's responsible for when you're stepping up onto a step, even when you're walking. So it doesn't matter how high, you choose what's comfortable for you, but you should start to feel the large muscle on the front or top of the thigh become taut. You can even gently hold on to the sides of your chair if it's more comfortable, and then lightly place the foot back down. Try not to let gravity take over. And now we're going to do the opposite side. Nice and easy. So again, we're looking to activate the muscle right where the thigh and the torso meet. And gently release. So now that you're aware of how to activate the muscle, we're going to focus on one side, so kind of a unilateral flow. So taking your time, activating the core, and we're going to focus just on the left leg. So lifting and gently lower. Nice. Lift and lower. The key is to not cause the body to rock. We don't want to compensate and use momentum. I want you to really focus on the action of the muscles that we're targeting here. This is an exercise I like to do with a lot of my older adult clients because weaker hip flexors are responsible for kind of that shuffle step that we often acquire when we're not active as we age. And when we shuffle, when we're walking, you're not picking your feet up and increase the risk of stumbling and falling like in uneven pavement. Good. Now gently release, and we're going to switch sides. So you may have noticed that with increased repetitions, there's a little fatigue that's set in. And that's a good thing. I never want you to be afraid of that sensation. It should certainly be comfortable. But working your way to gentle fatigue is how we build muscle endurance over time. And trust me, the more you do it, the easier it gets, and the stronger you become. Gently release. Now, we're going to get a little tricky. We're going to work on not only the hip flexors, but also the hip abductors and the adductors. So, abduction is simply moving away from the midline of the body. Adduction is bringing it back in. So let's go ahead and step out to the side, soft landing, and back to midline. Good. Step out to the side, and back to midline. But also maintaining control of the core. Keep your hands nice and light if you've chosen to hold on to the side of your chair. And if you'd like, you can even close the eyes. Good. Give me 3 more. Last one. Fantastic. So you know what comes next. We have to balance it out on the opposite side. So when you're ready, sitting nice and tall, go ahead and step to the side and back to center. Nice soft landings. Out and in. Good. Taking your time. And sometimes when we activate muscles that aren't accustomed to being isolated, you may notice that they're a little tender the next day, and that's normal. We call that delayed onset of muscle soreness. The best way to minimize that is to stay active and to stretch out. Good. And give me 3 more on this side. And as you make your way to that last one, let's go ahead and bring it back to center. Good. Now let's take a moment just to allow the back to relax for a second, because we have been engaging the core. So go ahead and sit back and notice the lower lumbar region relaxing. Give me 2 deep breaths. Good. And now sitting nice and tall. Once again, shoulders down and back. We're going to still maintain that focus of the lower extremities. Hands to your chair so that you have some clearance. We're going to focus on the quad a bit more, and I want you to think about kicking. Not hard or fast, but go ahead and extend out with that left leg. And again, it doesn't matter how high, but if you were to take your hand and lightly place it on the quad, you should feel it nice and firm and taut. And then gently release just the heel so it taps to the floor, and go ahead and lift and engage. Tap and lift. And when you lift, you don't want to lock out the knee. And also be very mindful if you've had any knee replacement surgeries, or if you're taking care of knee challenges. Again, listen to your body and what feels good for you. Good. Give me 3 more. Now let's lift and hold that last one. Give me a nice flexed foot to awaken the calf. Make sure you're smiling. And gently release. Good. Let's prepare for the opposite side. So again, sitting nice and tall. Always do a posture check. And let's extend out, just so that you can see your range of motion. Notice anything different with respect to the activation of the quad, the comfort of your knee. And again, we're not bringing the heel all the way back to its starting position, but just let the heel tap to the floor. So depending on the height of your chair would determine certainly your range of motion in this flow. Slow and steady. Strong leg muscles are important for walking, standing, all of your recreational pursuits as well. Give me 1 more. We're going to lift and hold. Excellent. And slowly release. Fantastic. Let's start to bring the focus a little bit higher. We're just going to do some chest presses. Now, since we're only using body weight, we have no weights involved, so it's going to be very minimal fatigue in this area, but I'm going to show you and teach you how to activate what we call the pectoral region. Those are the chest muscles. So just place the hands, palms facing forward, and we're going to extend out as if you were pushing against a resistance. And as you extend, kind of bring the thumbs toward one another, shoulders down and back. And if you take one hand and gently place it on the pectoral girdle, just below the collarbone, you should feel those muscles taut underneath them. If you don't, kind of relax the elbow and notice how it's now softer. And then extend until you feel that engagement. That's what I want you to aim for each repetition. So sitting nice and tall, we're going to bend the elbows, bring the hands to the chest. You can separate the thumbs now, and then extend out. Squeezing, engaging the chest muscles, coming back, and extend. Kind of imagining that you're pushing a resistance away. If you're familiar with doing push-ups, even against the wall, same range of motion, less resistance. Good. Give me 3 more of these. Go ahead and extend and hold. Nice. And gently release. Go ahead and roll the shoulders toward the back. Lower the chin toward the chest and roll the shoulders forward. And let's set those shoulders down and back. And now we're going to do an overhead extension. Again, if you're taking care of shoulder injuries or range of motion concerns, do what feels good for you, or you can certainly omit this exercise altogether. We're going to place the hands with palms facing toward the ceiling, and all we're going to do is push up and overhead, bringing the elbows back down toward the sides, and then pushing back up. Again, slow and steady. Maybe your range of motion is just to the top of the head. Whatever feels good for you. But we're working now the muscles of the deltoid and also the upper back. Depending on the height, you may even notice into the traps as the muscles that span from the base of the skull out toward the shoulders and even the lats, the lower back. So give me 4 more of these. Nice. And as you make your way to that final round, go ahead and lift and hold it. Slowly lower. Wonderful. Once again, let's roll those shoulders toward the back. Lower the chin toward the chest and roll the shoulders forward. Excellent. Setting the shoulders down and back. And now it's time to stretch. See, 30 minutes goes by rather quickly. So since we worked the leg muscles, let's go ahead and open up the hip. So we're going to start with that left leg once again, and we're just going to cross the ankle over the top of the right knee or thigh. You can choose the height that's comfortable for you. If you can come into the gentleman's leg cross, feel free to do so. One hand on the knee, one hand on the ankle. Some of us may notice a stretch already in the outer aspect of the hip and thigh, which can travel into the glutes as well. It's important that we maintain the range of motion in our hips because tight hips affect everything above and below that area. So the health of your back and also the lower extremities. So once again, correcting the posture, sitting nice and tall, and even that changes the sensation of the stretch. But if you'd like to take it a step further, hinging from the hips, just begin to lean forward, ever so slightly, stopping as soon as you feel, again, your comfort zone. Stretches should always feel like light tension, never pain or discomfort. And the more stretches you add to your exercise routine, the more improvements you'll notice. Give me 2 more deep breaths. It's another trick when it comes to flexibility. The more relaxed you are while you're stretching, the deeper you're able to go. Go ahead and slowly release. We're just going to uncross and switch sides. So take your time. And again, this side may feel a little different than the other, and that's okay. Make the adjustments. Sitting nice and tall, one hand on the knee, one on the ankle. And if you don't feel the stretch yet, remember, you can hinge from the hips and lead with your chest forward, stopping as soon as you feel, again, your sweet spot. Give me 2 more deep breaths. Just a reminder for the mind and body to relax and release into the stretch. Good. And slowly rise up and gently release. Now, since we did a lot of core activation just from sitting nice and tall in our chair, we're going to open up the muscles laterally. So let's go ahead and anchor with the right hand. And on an inhale, we're going to lift that left arm up and over. You can even slide your hand down a little farther if you'd like. But we don't want to just collapse into that side. I want you to still lengthen as you reach laterally. You can even place your hand on the opposite thigh if you'd like, keeping your feet flat. Nice deep breaths. If it's not comfortable for the shoulder, you can even bring the arm out in front or simply lean without the arm extension. You can even choose which direction you like to rotate your head based on the comfort of the neck and shoulders. Good. Slowly rise up. Let's prepare for the opposite side. Inhale. Extend up and over. Again, choose the arm position that speaks to you. Same with the adjustment in the neck and shoulders. Nice deep breaths, and notice how that also helps to stretch those muscles internally as your rib cage expands and contracts. Good. And slowly release. Finally, we're going to open up the shoulders. So let's take that left arm, we're going to cross it in front of the body and just hook it with the right. So with our presses overhead, and even with the modified chest press, we activated the shoulders. You can even simply place the hand against the arm and pull it in toward the body. Sitting nice and tall, let the shoulders lower down and back. Notice how we simply don't just jump into a stretch and then we're immediately out of it. I want you to take the time to dwell into the positions, even on your own. Doing so actually allows the activation of the stretch response. The muscles begin to relax into this new position that you're introducing it to. Release, and let's switch sides. Crossing over, give a hook or a hug. Sitting tall, again, engaging the core. Nice deep breaths. Slowly release. Fantastic. Go ahead and roll the shoulders toward the back one final time. Lower the chin toward the chest and roll the shoulders forward. And then set the shoulders down and back. Believe it or not, we've reached the end of your 30-minute Silver Serenity session. So in closing, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank each of you for joining us today. And a special thanks to our dear friends at the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy for hosting us on their Facebook page. And for more information about our wellness programs and services, please visit our Urban Solace Studio page right here on Facebook or at urbansolacestudio.com. And from our home to yours, please stay safe and have a healthy